Good wonderful morning to you, and I hope that sound interference isn't troubling the camera again. I don't know what caused it. I'm thinking to myself it could have been walking amongst all that water down in the pond garden, down in the bog garden. Well, look at this for a beautiful morning. Still some clouds up there, but they're broken clouds, that's fine. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? You can just hear the sheep. They're all calling. So there's some real autumn changes here. The seeds have now appeared, or the berries should I say, on the Leucestra famosa. And I'm already noticing birds flying into that bush and all the rest of them around the garden to get the berries. And lots of colour changes. I'm just going to go around the front because there's some beautiful sunshine just at the top of the driveway. A few things I wanted to say about the flooding up in Donegal. I'm listening to the radio this morning and realising just how serious the flooding up in Donegal has been. Once again, it's been called a once-in-a-lifetime event. You know, people need to stop saying this stupid statement because I've been listening to this. I'm just going to go, by the way, and get my waterproof clogs because the ground is still quite wet. Yeah, people need to stop saying this because I've been listening to this nonsense for the past 10 years or so. You know, this once-in-a-lifetime event. We all know that that's not true. We all know that these events are no longer once-in-a-lifetime anything, that they are regular current events to be expected. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk a little bit about Donegal this morning is because as I walk around my land, and you saw some of the photographs of the flooding and the way the rain was just pouring down here, but as I walk around my land here at Bealtaine Cottage, I realise that there has been no damage done, that the swales managed to contain the bulk of the water. And as I walked down through the bog garden yesterday, in yesterday's video, you can actually bear witness to that there was no obvious damage, there was no erosion, that the water was actually carried away quite successfully, and in the process as well was actually slowed down because all those swales and connecting into the old stream bed, or the old ditch should I say, which now serves as a stream bed because of the spring well, the ponds, especially the silt pond, and the stream then running off from the final pond down into the stream across the road that carries it down to the River Fairish, all that worked successfully. The ditches, or the ditch in behind all this hedge, which as you can see has been triple planted. It's actually been triple planted from the original hedge, so it's very dense, it's very deep. A lot of roots going down there protecting the banks. All that stayed in place. Carried the water beautifully. I say beautifully because the sound of the water certainly wasn't in any way threatening. There was no harsh, kind of gushing, manic sound. But apparently what happened in Donegal, and indeed here, because we were also the recipient of that rain, we're just down a little bit from Donegal here, I think the entire rainfall of the month of August fell in 9 hours, and it was relentless. It just literally just cascaded down from the heavens, and it didn't stop. It was very, very heavy, and as Dwayne alluded to the other day on my Facebook page, a rain bomb. And indeed that's what it was. It was like a successive kind of, bombing of rain. Well, Bealtaine has stayed beautifully in place. No erosion, not even here on this driveway, which is completely on a hill. Even as you walk back up to the she shed there, it's uphill all the way. So when you look down along this driveway, look, no erosion whatsoever, which is a major success in terms of how the goddess permaculture here deals with a situation that is, for many people up in Donegal, and certainly down here, was getting close to life-threatening. So there's a lesson in all of this, a massive lesson. And as I said yesterday in my video, we need to plant. We need to plant trees. We need to plant like our lives depend upon it, because it does. That's how we need to plant. We need to stop talking about planting, and we need to get out there and plant. And when I say plant trees, I'm talking about mixed trees. I'm not talking about that Sitka spruce abomination that the EU is paying farmers to plant, because that's the most destructive form of planting. In fact, it seems to be a complete contradiction in terms, but it is. It's the most destructive form of planting, because it creates acidity in the soil, it creates acidity in the water. It doesn't hold any life, it doesn't support any life, there's no wildlife in there, there's no leaf fall, there's no leaf drop, etc., etc. So we need to do planting similar to what I've done here. And I would urge anyone in government, anyone in council, if they want to see how this is done, if they want to see how successful new woodland planting. I mean, this is virtually a forest now. It's 13 years on, and it's a forest. I'm walking through this, and it's 2, 3, sometimes 4 times my height. It's well over my head now. It's dense. It's supporting life. It has an amazing amount of species, not just planted into it, but coming up through it. Stuff that I haven't planted is now coming up. The diversification is just amazing. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Wouldn't you feel safe in this? During storms and rainstorms and everything that's coming our way? Listen to it. Listen to the birds. This is sanctuary, and what the human race needs at this point in time, because of the massive destruction that we've done. The massive destruction, and not just that we've done, but that we've put in place that continues to harm us. We are a stupid, stupid species, because we have deliberately gone out to destroy our own habitat. There isn't another species on the planet that does that. Listen to the health here. This is health. This is health for life. And again, the people who sit around talking about what kind of trees we should plant and debating it and arguing over it, invariably are not the ones who plant anything. because there are the talkers and there are the walkers. And I consider myself a bit of a walker. So just going through here now this morning, I'm looking for any signs of that devastatingly heavy rain. And I'm actually not seeing it. I see wet ground, but I don't see any damage at all. And I mean, look at this, not even the berries on the trees have been damaged. This is a plea to anyone in government here in Ireland, on any level of governance. This is a plea to plant and to encourage people to plant deciduous trees. And I am not talking trees that have to be staked up and tied up and almost crucified in the middle of a lawn. I'm talking about planting. Plant like your life depends upon it, because it does. I can't get this message over strongly enough. I just wish that more and more people would see the videos here of Bealtaine Cottage. I know I've said I can no longer have visitors here because I just haven't got the time, because I have to write and there's so many other things I have to do. But, you know, feel free to share this particular video. Feel free to send this video to a government minister if you want. Something has to give, and from what's happened up at Donegal, it's looking more and more like the human species in Ireland aren't going to make it. We're just not going to make it unless we get started on a national programme to ameliorate the worst of what's coming down the line. And we haven't even begun to see the beginning of the worst. This is not the worst. This isn't even the beginning of the worst. We only have to look to other countries to see what's been happening. We had massive flooding here in 2000 and, what was it, 8, 9? Massive flooding. And we were all reassured, well, this is just one of those, one in a lifetime events. Please stop saying that. It's not. You know it, I know it, the dogs in the street know it. Why do we continue to say this crap? Let's look at the problem, let's have a national strategy, and let's get to it. Let's get to it. For goodness sake, if one 61-year-old grandmother living on her own can plant all this, what on earth is stopping a national plan from being put into action? It pains me to see what has happened up in Donegal. It really pains me, because it didn't have to be like that. But if you want to go to a county in Ireland where there's little or no trees, take yourself up to Donegal. It's about time we just started, naming this problem and actually just talking about it properly. And let's have a national debate. Well, no more national debates. We don't need debates. We need action. Let's have a national plan. I urge any ministers in government, I urge anyone in governance, in political parties or whatever, make their way to Bealtaine Cottage, see what can be done in a very short space of time by one woman. Then turn round and tell me that this can't be implemented, that this cannot be implemented on a national scale. And can we stop paying farmers just to set aside land? Because that's a nonsense. That's one of the stupidest things ever. Oh, let's just let's pay the farmers to fence in that bit of land and do nothing with it. Well, I can tell you this much. Bealtaine Cottage was fenced in for long enough and there was nothing done, and nothing grew. I sound angry. I am pretty angry this morning because I'm looking at scenes in Donegal that hurt my soul, because I know it did not have to be like that. Now, can we wake up and can we get on with the task in hand, which is doing something to help this beautiful country, to help it and make it resilient and make it strong and make it ready for what's coming down the line. Because what's coming down the line is not very nice, but we can do something about it now. Sorry to be given out. Had to be said. Blessings to you all.